Have you ever seen someone that seems to just pull success out of thin air? No matter what they do, it just seems to work. Every time you see that social media, there's a new, fun, exciting, and successful project going on. I've seen people like that, and I've thought to myself, how are they doing that? Thinking of that reminds me of a time when I wasn't doing so well as an entrepreneur. I was having a conversation with one of my mentors, and as I was crying and complaining, he stopped me and he said, Jonah, successful people aren't just better than you. They don't have just some special sauce that you don't have. They're not 5, 10, or 20 times better than you. The only thing that has happened is they've stopped doing some things that you're still doing, and they've started doing some things that you aren't doing. Since that time, I've had some success as an entrepreneur. And what my mentor told me was exactly right. More often than not, successful people are creating the success that they have. And creating that success is exactly what we'll be talking about in today's video. Success creation. Cultivate the life you've always dreamed of. What myths have we been taught about success? We've heard that a lot of money equals success, or a big house equals success, a great job equals success, or a fancy car equals success. Well, I believe that these things are a part of success, but these things alone are not success. Because we've all heard of the multimillionaire that's miserable, or we've heard of the business owner whose store is doing great, but they never have time to spend with their family. So the question becomes, what is success? And this is how we'll define success. Success is the attainment of an outcome, position, or status by an individual whose life purpose is also fulfilled through the attainment of that outcome, position, or status, and those who need that individual are served through that attainment. True success is achieved only when the outcome is attained, our purpose is fulfilled, and those who need us are served. Now, if you look in the dictionary for that definition, you will not find that as the definition of success. That's how we've defined success for the purpose of our training. So when I was coming out of being down and out and I started to have a little better results, I realized that making tons of money but not fulfilling my purpose isn't success. So I had to go through those things to realize that. If I have a great business, but I'm not serving those who need me, that is not success. That's one of the things I realized also. Now that we have debunked some of those myths about success and talked about what success truly is, the question becomes, what is creation? Creation is the act or process of designing, forming, modeling, and bringing something into existence. A thing that has been invented, produced, or created, especially something that displays natural, artistic, or scientific talent. That's how we will define creation. The ability to create is one of the greatest opportunities that we have in our lives. All right. In fact, not using our creative ability is a huge waste. When we are creative, we tap into our God likeness. We tap into our natural talents. We produce things that would not exist on earth if it weren't for us. No one else in the world can do it. The things that you'll create, the gifts that you have, the gift that you're supposed to display to the world, there is no other human being that can do it. All right, there are things that the world are waiting for you to create. Now, in my 18 years as an educator, I've learned that a good teacher has an objective for every lesson. So, what is today's objective? Today, we will start cultivating the life we've always dreamed of. That's today's objective. Now, also in my 18 years as an educator, I've learned that a great teacher tells the learner how they will achieve the objective. So, how will we start the cultivating process? One, by defining our personal success, and two, by refining our personal success. In our objective today, one of my favorite words, cultivate, was there. For us to fully understand our objective, we need to understand what that word cultivate means. So, what does it mean to cultivate? The ability to influence, prepare, position, and develop a person, thing, or skill in order to maximize productivity. Now, when I was first introduced to the word cultivate, it had nothing to do with business, entrepreneurship, or being successful, right? But it became one of my favorite words eventually. I was on a weekend trip with one of my good friends from college named Chad. All right, during this trip, we had a chance to meet or be around Chad's grandfather. And his grandfather was a gardener. He had a really, really nice garden. So as we talked to his grandfather and helped him in the garden, he kept using gardening terms and comparing how agriculture and gardening and life was exactly the same. He kept telling Chad things like about cultivating the plants, saying cultivating the land mirrors cultivating one's life, you know. And when he said that, it just was like went over my head. I had no clue what he meant. But so at the time when he said that, he was pruning some plants. So, and when you prune, you are cutting off parts of the plant that aren't being productive. As he cut away at the plants, he said to cultivate a fulfilling life, you have to prune away what isn't bearing fruit. Now, again, I still didn't know what that meant. I was a 19-year-old college kid. But as I aged and I started to live life, and I never forgot those statements, and cultivating became a necessary and regular part of my life. So pruning is just one of the ways you cultivate, and it's actually one of the latter steps, right? But that's how I was introduced to the word cultivate. Like we're going to use cultivation to maximize productivity. And as I said, pruning is one of the latter steps. There's also other steps in cultivating, like you have to prepare, and that would involve like strategic planning and learning new skills, learning, being a lifelong learner. That's part of cultivating. That's how you prepare. That means making, and then we also have to position ourselves. That would mean making sure that we're in the correct environment or the correct vehicle for success. Like with a plant, planting a flower in soil instead of planting it in concrete. It doesn't matter what you do to a flower. If you plant it in concrete, that's not the right environment, or it's in the wrong position. Same thing with our lives. We have to make sure we're in the correct position. And you also have to develop, which is reviewing and changing our plans as needed, taking skills that we've learned and expanding on them, and making sure that the environment that we are in is rich with the proper nutrients to help us grow. That's how you develop, right? Just like with a plant, you help it develop by not only putting it in the right environment, but you water it, make sure it gets sunlight. That's what helps it develop. Same thing with our lives. We have to develop our lives. So those are some of our cultivating steps: preparing, making sure that we're in the right environment or position, and developing. And then after that, we'll work into like pruning or getting rid of things that aren't producing to make room for things that are more productive. All right. So, like I said, we're going to look at the first two steps of the process, which I call defining success and refining success. All right. So, defining your success. What is your why? All right. Your why is going to tell you why you're doing something. Define your success. So these questions that we have here will help us to define our success. If we can answer these questions, by the end of this slide, we will have at least started to define what our personal success is. All right. What is your why? Your why is going to be very, very important because your why will give you motivation when you don't feel like continuing in your success. Your why has to be very strong. It can't be something simple like, I want to be rich, or I want to make a lot of money, or I really want some material thing. Your why has to be so strong that when you don't feel like getting out of bed, when you don't feel like writing the book, when you don't feel like booking a new client, we don't feel like making the video, you continue to go. Your why has to be strong. Your why has to be something like, I want to change the trajectory and the legacy of my family. That's a strong why. That's enough to keep you going when you don't feel like it, right? My why has to be, I want my children to have a life that's 10 times better than the life I had growing up. That is your why. And it doesn't really matter what type of success you're trying to achieve. Your why is going to be your primary motivator. Why are you doing what you're doing? Answering that question will help you greatly in defining your personal success. Next, you're going to answer the question, what are your gifts? What are the things that you've been blessed with that you can do better than other people? What are the things that you've been blessed with that you can do and they seem like work to other folks, but it seems like play to you? In your family, you may be the person that your siblings or parents or cousins call on when they need to talk about a heavy issue, right? You may have some type of gift for counseling or being an advisor of some sort. If you're the person in your family or amongst your friends that when there's a trip planned or a trip that's being discussed, you're the person that everybody leans on to find flights, find hotels, make sure that we have transport back and forth from the airport to the resort. You may have some type of gift for strategic planning or for management. There's something that you do that you're just naturally good at and better than your surroundings, but the people that surround you, you're better than them at it. So, what are those things? How are we going to tap into those things? How are we going to find out what those things are? Our gifts will definitely help us to define our success. All right. Next, what are your natural talents? So, a lot of times people think that gifts and talents are the same. But a gift is going to be something that doesn't seem like it's teachable. Like no one taught you how to do it. Nobody, you didn't go to school for it. You didn't get a degree in it. You did, it's not learnable. That's what a gift is going to be. A talent is something that you hone and develop. You went to school for it, you took a course for it, you took a class for it, and you developed that talent. Okay. Now, gifts and talents can overlap some, but primarily speaking, your gifts are going to be things that are not learnable. You just know how to do it. And your talents are going to be things that you may have an inclination for, but you had to train that. But still, your talents are going to be included in your success. Things that you can do or present to the world that are going to help you be successful and attain that position or outcome. They're also going to fulfill your life purpose, and they're also going to help those that you were sent to serve. All right. Next, after we figure these things out, we're going to ask ourselves, does our why, our purpose, and our gift, do they serve others and as well as serving ourselves? If the answer is yes, then that is a good indication that you're headed in the right direction of success. If they serve one but not the other, that's a good indication that you're headed in the wrong direction. All right. Finally, ask yourself, does your why, purpose, or gift align with your true identity? All right. Does it naturally help you become more of who you are? Right? Does it align with your true identity? And if it's out of line with your true identity, it just won't work. No matter how much effort you put into it, how much you push, how much money you throw behind it, if it's not in line with your true identity, it just will not work. Now, you may have read about a time when I actually got to witness the immediate reaction of one of my good friends who unknowingly was going through the process of defining his success. I told that story in my book, What They Don't Teach You in School. And in the story, I talked about how my friend burst into my house in an excited panic. He had been in a meeting with a group of people at a local coffee shop when he had an awakening, as he called it. The story is really awesome. I don't want to give it all away, but you should definitely check it out. It's in my book. But once we have defined our success, we know our why, we have discovered our gifts, we know our natural talent, then we have to refine our success. So, how do we do that? Refining our success is a four-step process, right? We have to remove, rinse, replace, repeat. So, if you know anything about the word refine, basically, we're going to take what we've already discovered or the success that we've already defined, we're going to take it and refine it or make it better, right? And the way we make it better is remove, by the process of removing, rinsing, replacing, and repeating. All right, so what does remove mean? Remove means that we're going to remove anything from our lives that does not fit into or help help with the success that we've already defined, right? Anything that is not in alignment with it, anything that's not supporting it, anything that's not helping us to achieve the success that we've defined, we're going to remove it from our lives, right? So that may be a habit that we have, that may be an appetite that we have, that may be a friend or an acquaintance that we have, that may be anything that is in our lives that's not helping us move toward that success. We're going to remove it, right? One of the things that I work with my clients with very often is removing speech from their lives that does not line up with their success, right? So they may be saying things out loud like, I'm not able to do it. I just can't do it. I'm not good enough. Nobody's going to listen to me. Who's going to support my business? And yada, yada, yada. They may be saying those things out loud. And those things don't line up with the success that we've defined. So we have to remove them from our lives, right? So it doesn't matter what it is or who it is. If it does not helping us, we have to remove it. And that's just a simple fact. This is part of what Chad's grandpa was talking about with pruning, right? This will be removing or cutting off something that is not helping maximize our productivity. We're going to remove it. That is the pruning part. And again, that's hard, right? It's one of the latter steps, but it's one of the harder steps because you've been used to saying certain things. You've been used to doing certain things, having certain habits, having certain appetites. You've been used to being around certain people. However, if they don't line up with your success, you have to remove them, right? So the next step is rinse. What is the rinse step? Rinsing is when Rinsing means to continually remove the residue from whatever we removed in step one, right? Think of it like this. If you are out to eat, you have your favorite shirt on, having some pasta, marinara sauce, and you waste spaghetti sauce on your shirt, all right? Well, you can remove the chunks of tomatoes and wipe your shirt off. However, we all know that there's going to be some residue from the sauce in the shirt, right? And that residue is not going to come out unless we continuously rinse the shirt. We have to rinse that out, right? So there'll be residue left over from the habit, from the appetite, from the person, from the speech that you had. There'll be residue of that. It'll want to come back. It'll want to stick around. It'll want to hold on. And when that happens, we have to continually rinse it. We have to continually deny that access. We have to continually stop ourselves from making those comments. We have to continually stop ourselves from repeating that habit that we've had. That is the rinsing process. So the removal process is probably the most difficult. The rinsing process probably takes the longest time because we have to continually do it. We have to let's talk about that shirt again. You may have to soak the shirt. You may have to spray it with some spray and wash. You may have to scrub it with by hand first and then put it in the wash machine. You may have to do several things in that rinse step, right? You want to reduce that habit from a habit to maybe doing it one time or an action. And you want to reduce it from an action to maybe talking about it. And then you want to reduce from talking about it to maybe thinking about it. And then you want to reduce from thinking about it sometimes to not thinking about it at all. So that is like some of the steps that you'll take in the rinse process. You have to continually do that, right? So now once we've spent a lot of time on the rinse process, getting rid of the residue from the things that we've removed, we'll have to replace it. And our speech is an excellent example. So if we've been making negative statements about ourselves, about our abilities, about what we can have or can't have, once we remove that, then we rinse that. We want to replace that with statements that are going to help or are going to lead toward our success. I am able to achieve the wealth that I want to achieve. I am able to break any generational curse off my family that we may have. I am able to change and improve the legacy of my family. So we want to replace that habit, that speech, that person, that appetite with healthy things that are leading toward our success. All right. So that's step 3 in the refining process. So we've removed, we've rinsed, we've replaced, and then we're going to repeat. And when we repeat, we're going to find other things in our lives that are not contributing to our success. And then we're going to do the same process. We're going to remove those things. We're going to rinse those things. We're going to replace those things. And then we're going to repeat. We'll find something else. We're going to remove it. We're going to rinse it. We're going to replace it. And then we'll repeat again. Right. And we're going to keep doing that until our lives reflect the success that we've always dreamed of. Right. Now, defining and refining your success is just the beginning of the success creation process. We go deeper into the process of cultivating the lives that we've always dreamed of in all of our products. We have courses, we have challenges, we have books, and one of those things is our 5-day Pillars of Success challenge, right? In that challenge, we go deeper into the success creation process. We go past defining and refining our success to strategies about our success, systems for our success, and so on and so forth. All right. So if you have enjoyed this training today, first of all, we just want to say thank you for joining us. We know that you could have spent your time anywhere, but you spent your time here with us. If you want to contact us about any of our future trainings, you can reach us at the website www.jonahrwilliams.com or via email at connect@jonahrwilliams.com. Check out our content on YouTube. That's at jonahrwilliams.com, or on our Facebook page. That's /JonahRWilliamsOfficial. Again, thank you so much for joining us in this workshop. We hope that it has been a blessing to you and helpful to you, and we look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you.